Hi there and good afternoon, everybody. I'm Eric Chilton alongside Stacey Spivey, Lauren Coleman, Monique Robinson's right here. Ben Briscoe's hiding over there too. We'll talk to him in a minute.
Hi everyone, welcome to the 4 to 5 here on WFMY News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and the WFMY News 2 app.
Now this afternoon we've got a lot to get to, including the chaos unraveling in Ukraine and how it's impacting us here in the Triad. So let's go ahead and start with developing news from the White House. Today, President Joe Biden announced more sanctions against Russia amid the war in Eastern Europe. The attacks are isolating and weakening Russia's economy.
Right now, the value of the country's money, the ruble, is plummeting and interest rates have doubled to 20%. The White House has also blocked Russia from doing transactions in U.S. dollars.
Meanwhile, Ukraine President Zelensky remains on the ground and is telling his people to stay strong. Today, Ukrainian and Russian delegates sat down for the first direct negotiations between the two countries since the invasion. The talks lasted for hours, and while ceasefire was mentioned, Ukraine's president isn't expecting much out of the discussion.
The crisis in Ukraine is expected to bring heavy casualties, and many Americans are wondering what they can do to help. Right now, there are several donation opportunities floating around online, but before you go out and do your good deed, 2 Wants to Know's Ben Briscoe has what you need to watch out for. Ben.
Lauren, the online security group ESET Research has already been flagging fake charities pretending to help Ukraine. So we know the scammers are out there. One place that is real to give is right here on Ukraine's Twitter, their official page. The country's official account actually posted, "Stand with the people, Ukraine now accepting cryptocurrency donations." And then it goes on to send where to send the money. And actually, this is from a verified account, and a U.S. State Department worker says he's confirmed these routing numbers are correct and in Ukraine's control of accounts. But maybe you're not into cryptocurrency, or maybe this giving online like this still makes you feel uncomfortable. Well, the Better Business Bureau reviews charities, making sure they meet 20 different standards. Now, some charities they've accredited include Direct Relief, Global Giving, Operation USA, and Save the Children. You can find more information about the BBB's choices of where you should donate on give.org. There's one other really important website you should use too. It's called charitynavigator.org. You can actually search different charities related to Ukraine, and it pulls them up here and rates them. You can see this one's got a 45, these are not rated. Here's the deal, skip the ones that are not rated and then actually go for one that has an 80 or above. Also, you can click on that rating, like this one's a 71, and it will tell you once you get to the next page, once it loads here, technology's great, isn't it? It will actually show you how much of the money that you're donating goes towards the program and how much of it actually goes towards the staff.
Ben, thank you for breaking all that down for us. All right, now thousands of people are fleeing Ukraine, looking for a place to live as the crisis continues to unfold. Today, Airbnb announced it's offering to provide free short-term housing for up to 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. According to Airbnb.com, Airbnb executives sent letters to Poland, Germany, Hungary, and Romania offering support and welcoming refugees within their borders. As this happens overseas, thousands of refugees are already staying in free housing in the U.S. thanks to Airbnb. In August, the company committed to offering free temporary housing to over 20,000 Afghan refugees. 600 are here in North Carolina, including 180 in Greensboro. This program began in 2012 when Hurricane Sandy hit. An Airbnb spokesperson says they mobilized New York City hosts to provide free housing to those victims. Now over 100,000 people have been helped in anything from natural disasters to frontline workers who needed to quarantine during the pandemic.
Going forward, this will remain a really big priority for Airbnb.org. They also announced this week that Airbnb.org will commit to provide housing to another 20,000 refugees. That will include Afghan refugees as well as refugees from other parts of the world.
Refugees can stay in Airbnbs for any length of time, but Fusco says the average is about 17 to 18 days before they are placed in permanent housing. This is all funded through Airbnb.org donations and the generosity of Airbnb hosts. She said more than 7,000 Airbnb hosts volunteered to list their homes for free.
I think that in the face of crisis, when we are seeing, just really gut-wrenching images on the news of people who are just, in immediate need and in immediate crisis. So many of us ask what we can do to help, and becoming an Airbnb.org host is a really easy way that if you have the space to share, you can help and make a really meaningful impact on someone's life.
If you're interested in helping, we do have a link on our website, WFMYnews2.com. Pretty incredible what they're doing. So they already have 180 refugees, Afghan refugees here in Greensboro, but they're preparing to have Ukrainian refugees all across the world in Airbnbs.
I mean, the generosity of those people that are just saying, hey, you can take my place and use it for a while. And I mean, that's a great thing. This is just yet another, we've been talking about all of us donating to charities, and now this is happening, and it really makes me proud that people in the United States are stepping up.
I was going to say the same, a great place to put your dollars if you're looking for somewhere to donate, especially since they've been doing this since 2012, like you said. So they have that proven track record that your money really is going to a great place and benefiting a lot of people.
Yeah, and I was talking to her about this, and I thought it was really cool to think about. A lot of times, if you're in a crisis, I mean, obviously, anywhere you're going to stay, you're going to be thankful for. But to be able to be in a home that has a full kitchen, bathroom, everything you can imagine and that you need is going to be there, rather than at a hotel where you might not. It might not feel like home.
And you said the stay can be as long as they want, even though most might not stay beyond that 2 weeks, but just that stress relief of just knowing I can use this as long as I can till I get on my feet.
This makes me think about hurricane coverage, because when I've been down actually at the coast covering hurricanes in my career, and you see that devastation and people are like, where do I go? It's the same type of thing, right? I mean, they need a place to go. It's very good. Good for them.
Great awareness.
Yeah.
Good story, Stacey.
Very nice. All right, well, we have some good news with the forecast now. Let's check in with Monique. Looks like things are looking up from a temperature standpoint.
Spring is my favorite season. If I'm not going to say it enough today, I'm going to say it again tomorrow, as temperatures are going to be just so warm. Spring is certainly in the air. Plenty of sunshine this week and some very warm days. The coldest day this week will be 56 degrees on Friday, and 56 really isn't too shabby. I'm talking temperatures in the 60s, in the 70s, and one day this week we will near 80 degrees. I mean, we're talking a very warm week ahead. Now, tomorrow begins that first official day of the spring season, according to meteorologists, although I know astronomers argue that won't be until Sunday, March 20th with that spring solstice. But I do not care, y'all. It's going to be warm. And in fact, it's also going to be very dry, as 7 days this week, we're going to be mostly dry, and then the rain chances will return until Monday next week. The pollen, though, that's one thing that a lot of folks not too excited about as spring returns, as tree pollen is very high for today and also forecasted to be high for your Tuesday, your Wednesday, and your Thursday. Now, the grass and weeds, not a concern, but yes, the tree pollen is very high, so make sure to not forget your allergy medicine this week ahead, because rain chances are certainly not in the forecast, at least for the next 5 days. And a lot of times that rain can act to wash away the pollen. But for now, we're going to continue with blue skies just like this through tonight and once again tomorrow. More details on that full 7 day coming up.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Right now, the search is on for the suspects accused of abducting a 1-year-old boy. Winston-Salem police say the child is back home after an Amber Alert went out last night. The father told police a car chased and shot at him yesterday, causing him to crash on Pope and Ebert roads. That's when the suspects allegedly took the child from the car. The baby was later found with his mother in Mooresville. Police charged the mom with misdemeanor child abuse. If you have any information on the suspects who took the child, call 911 or Crime Stoppers. Tech experts are sounding the alarm as conflict in Eastern Europe continues. Right now, there are fears of a possible U.S. cyber attack from Russia. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency says you should follow these tips to protect yourself. Keep your softwares up to date. Install antivirus software and double-check links before clicking them. They may lead to ransomware. Workers at Target stores and distribution centers could soon see a major boost in starting pay. The company announced today that it will adopt minimum wages ranging from $15 to $24 an hour. That's a lot, with the highest pay going to hires in the most competitive market. Right now, Target pays a universal starting wage at $15 an hour. The new starting pay rate is part of the company's plan to bolster its workforce and expand health care coverage. So Stacy, you did the math. So $15 to $24 per hour, how much is that coming out to annually?
Well, I didn't do the math. Google did the math.
Google did the math, okay.
Because I can't do math, but I Googled how much it would be a year if you made $24 an hour, and it'd be $58,000. So I have two sides to this.
Okay.
I think with obviously what we're dealing with in our country with inflation, with the affordable housing crisis, people need to make more money to be able to afford to live in this day and age. However, it pains me when I see that, knowing how much journalists make throughout this country. And a lot of journalists, specifically, I'm thinking producers, editors, photographers, and even some reporters are not making as much money as what somebody at Target did. And I know a lot of journalists spend a lot of time in school to get degrees, and not saying that anyone at Target didn't do that, but it just sometimes
I know,
just
we
frustrates
compare
me.
to our own world sometimes. I mean, that's what everybody does. When I hear this, the first thing I think of, well, you know who's paying for that, and that's us.
Oh,
because
yeah.
Target's going to have to bring prices up, and that to me, if you keep bolstering the minimum wage up to a certain level, I mean, yes, we do need some help, but if you get too far with it, then we're all going to pay the price, and inflation's going to continue to rise.
And I've said this before when it comes to housing and different things, we get to a point where we just have to change the system a little bit, because if you think about it, journalists, teachers, even some of our first responders, people who literally dedicate their lives to making this a better society, can barely afford to live or pay their rent. So places like Target and other places are trying to step up to recruit more of those people, but I feel like this is something that has to happen across the board.
Yeah, it would have to.
It's
It will.
gonna have to.
Weigh in, let us know what you think, and we'll be right back.
We all said sure.
There's so many teachers like in Northern Virginia
Hello,
that have
friends.
second jobs, like they work at Banana Republic, or
Oh,
they're
so
teaching
many
summer
people.
school and tutoring and
Yep.
all this stuff.
They have to. They can't afford
But
everything.
it's like teaching is a job that needs to be filled. Like first responders need to be filled. People have to update you with, you
right.
know,
Target
the
positions
news.
are
You
going to be
can-
fine.
You can say you hate the news, but you need to know what's going on.
I watched a 60-minute special on the print industry and how destroyed it's been, and there's one company, I can't even remember the company's name, that was buying up all these newspapers and then slashing 70% of the staff. And they were emphasizing how important journalism is. It says if government goes unchecked, then corruption goes up. And they noticed it in a couple of these markets where they basically
Didn't have
destroyed the
newspapers,
yes,
yeah.
they took them out of. I'm not saying newspaper is the way to go. Obviously, it's all heading digital, but it's just how important journalism is.
Why are we not? Oh wait, are our mics up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're talking to Facebook.
Oh, okay.
My friends listen to us sometimes and they think we always don't know.
Oh yeah,
you
well
know?
I had taken my earpiece out and I was like, wait, I told you the first time when I first started on this show, my mom texted me, was like, someone's mic is on, let them know. And I was like, oh, this is what we do here.
I want to build up our Facebook folks that watch us live, so share your streams and share this
or let
post.
us know what you want to see.
Yeah, yeah.
On the
Or
4
like
to
what
5,
you want to
because we're
talk
here
about.
for you.
Yeah, let us know like what kind of conversations you want to have when we can't open our mics.
We did a behind the scenes thing one day and took a camera and walked. I can't remember how
we
we
need to
did
do that
Yeah, it was
again.
fun. I know
Hear
we did.
Lauren
We did
sing
for
and
fun.
hum. Oh, we got
So
30
long.
seconds.
See you in a
So
minute.
long, farewell.
We round out the final day of Black History Month by looking at the life of Judge and Civil Rights Advocate William H. Hasty. In our U-Day moment, Coach Lamont shares a message on how mistakes and how we should learn and not to repeat them.
American lawyer, judge, and civil rights advocate William H. Hasty once said, "History informs us of our past mistakes from which we can learn without repeating them." Have you learned from your mistakes of your past, or are you repeating them today? We have become creatures of habit, but are those habits creating creatures we resent? The past is to be a guide of what worked and what didn't, and how we can refine and do it better. Moments once lived had their time to shine, but today is screaming for the opportunity to show you what can be. Escape the grips of yesterday and allow this moment to become your best moment. You will only compete with the version of you that you once were. There's no competition if the competition is alike. Think on that one. This is Coach Lamont. Make today your best you day. I'll see you tomorrow.
Go ahead, take us to church, Lauren. I'm waiting.
I was going to say, you know, we all make mistakes and they're meant for us to have, but that's why God gives us mercy. Or gives us grace so we don't do it over and over again, but sometimes you might run out of that grace. So it's important for you to learn from those mistakes and not repeat them.
Yeah, my dad used to say,
that's my sermon for today.
Amen. My dad used to say, he used to say that the mistakes are for a reason, right?
Yeah.
That you're supposed to fail.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's what you do with failure that determines who you are.
I mean, that's how you learn.
It is.
You learn from your mistakes, right? We've always said that. Yeah, and so I just think it's important that you acknowledge at least what you did wrong and move forward from that.
Great advice from all of us. Our day.
Our day to you.
All right, well, before we head to break, we want to leave you with a little known Black history fact. Did you know Grammy Award-winning jazz saxophonist John Coltrane was raised right here in the Triad? WFMY News 2's digital producer Terrence Jeffries shows us his home, still standing in High Point today.
Jazz composer John Coltrane,
the son of a preacher and grandson of a minister, has roots right here in the Triad. His family moved to High Point when he was just 3 months old. His grandfather built them this house on Underhill Street. The jazz saxophonist, best known for his love of music, played both the clarinet and saxophone in high school. Although he died at the age of 40, the Grammy Award-winning artist released almost 50 studio albums and nearly 20 singles during his career. After graduating from William Penn High School, he moved to Philadelphia to go to music school, made his professional debut in 1945, and collaborated with Dizzy Gillespie, Thelonious Monk, and Miles Davis before forming his own group in 1960.
Mic check, Jalen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 42, 96.
Today's your day.
Still mic check, Jalen. Mic check, Jalen. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I can hear you, Brad. What's up? Tommy Tanks. 9 dingers in 8 games. Must be nice, bro. Swinging a real hot bat, ain't he?
I just love spring, the flowers blooming, the warm air, the butterflies just dancing, but we're not quite there yet. We're still in the month of February. It's the last day of the month, and this month has been extremely warm. We've had days in the 60s, and it was winter, but as we transition into the month of March, temperatures are going to be very warm. I promise I will show you that 7-day before the 4 p.m. hour ends, and it's getting warm across the Triad.
Well, it's back. It's officially ACC tourney time down at the Coliseum. The court is being assembled and the bracket is set. Tickets are now on sale, and NC State is the #1 seed, hoping to add another ACC championship to their resume. The 45th Women's ACC Tournament kicks off on Wednesday at 1 p.m. And over in Major League Baseball, today is the deadline for the league's owners and the Players Union to come to a new labor agreement. Now, if there's no deal by the end of business today, then opening day, scheduled for March 31st, will be pushed back. And I know that's not what we as fans want to see. But I do have some good news. Although Major League Baseball has locked the players out, thankfully for us here in the Triad, that lockout only applies to Major League players. Our minor league teams will not be impacted, thankfully. The Hoppers home opener is still scheduled for Friday, April 8th. And out in Winston-Salem, the Dashes home opener will be the same day as well.
So I'm not a baseball guy. I don't follow it that closely. But tell me, like, what's the beef? Like, what's the whole thing?
You know what it is about, man.
It's
Anytime
always about
anybody's
money.
locked out, it's about money. So
Yep.
there's a couple spaces that the owners and the players are disagreeing with. One is with the luxury tax. Even though there is no salary cap in baseball, the luxury tax is the penalty that players, that the league or the owners get put into once they spend over a certain amount of money.
Oh, okay.
Also, there's a new playoff format. They want to expand from 10 teams to 12 teams, and now they're kind of disagreeing on how they want that to look. And also, the third thing that's going to be is the revenue sharing between the owners and the players, which is just the percentage of money that the players receive from the total gate earned every year.
So every time we see this in any professional sport, it drags out because you've got lawyers involved and you've got, but I mean, is there any word indication how long this could go?
So baseball's done this a couple times
Yeah.
before. And one time they canceled the World Series, which was not great. One time there was a lockout to the beginning of the season the following year that lasted into past opening day. So, I mean, we got maybe 30 minutes for a deal to be made until it's official that opening day will be delayed. I mean, we've been negotiating this for 3 months now and nothing's happened. So
Keep going.
yeah,
All right.
it's not good.
Jalen will keep us posted. What's going on? We'll take a short break. We'll be back.
The cost of streaming TV shows and movies is up as prices for the once cheaper alternative continue to rise. Amazon is raising the cost of its annual Prime subscriptions by $20, bringing the cost to $139 a year. Yeah, Netflix increased its monthly rate by $2, bringing the premium cost to $19.99 a month. Experts say consumers are subscribing to multiple platforms and are often paying more than one monthly streaming bill. The companies hope new seasons of their favorite shows will make the incremental price hikes worth it. So with prices going up on almost everything these days, I asked you on Facebook, what do you plan to cut back on? Donna McCarty says everything. Debbie Lynn says Instacart and DoorDash. Grady Cottrell wrote Amazon. Sophia George wrote meats and gas. Ryan Kepke says hobby spending. $19.99 for Netflix. I remember when I was in college, Netflix was like $7 a month. And I didn't graduate too long ago, so that's a huge increase.
I mean, we're seeing that all the time. How many streaming services do you guys pay for? Because I was doing this in my head trying to figure
I
out.
personally pay for 2 right now. So I have Netflix and I have Hulu, and half of my family is on my Netflix account. But my sister, she's paying for quite a few too, because I'm on her Disney Plus account.
While you were talking, Lord, I just saw Stacy doing this.
And I look up and I see that Brad put me up on camera. Thanks, Brad.
she has too many to count.
She was
I'm like trying to think like which ones are ours. I know we use like my parents' Netflix account. We borrow Jake's brother's HBO account, but we have literally all of them. I was just thinking about it. But at first, we originally switched to Hulu Live, thinking we'd save money, but then you want to get this one, and then you want to get Apple TV because it has Ted Lasso, and then you want Netflix because it has this show that I want to see.
Do you pick, because I pick them up and drop them. So I'll pick up Apple TV long enough to catch up on the morning show and Ted Lasso, and then once I'm caught up, I drop it, but I keep Netflix consistently and Disney Plus for the kids consistently.
Most people don't drop them though. It's kind of like when you go to the bookstore and they're like, just sign up for this free subscription. After 3 months, you can drop it. But people usually tend to forget. But one more thing I want to say, how we're all saying we're on other family members' accounts. I think eventually these streaming services are going to put a cap on how many people can be on an account.
Right.
Because they're starting to catch on. You might have like 15 family members on your Netflix.
I think they were trying to make people pay for that, but we'll see.
All right, stick around. We're coming back.
Hello? Hey? Hi, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together.
I'm sorry.
Black Friday,
What'd you say?
A couple years ago, they had a sale for only 99 cents a month.
Everybody, welcome back to your 4 to 5. Gang's all here today, and we've got lots to talk about.
Yeah, you're watching the 4 to 5 at home, Fire Stick, Roku, WFMY News 2 app, and we're also on Facebook, so make sure you join the conversation.
Yeah, we're going to explain in a little bit why we all have these little ribbons on and a little bit later in the show, so stick around for that. But right now, we want to kick off your 4 to 5 by rounding up with developing news impacting schools across the Triad. Today, several students did not have to put their mask on before boarding the school bus. Several districts, including Alamone's Burlington County School System and Rockingham County Schools, opted to drop the rule following an update last week from the CDC. Now, keep in mind, this applies to public or private school buses or vans. Guilford County Schools and Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools still require their students to mask up while on the bus. Right now, there is only one school district left in the Triad that hasn't adopted a mask optional policy, but that could soon change. The Lexington City School Board will talk about masks at its board meeting tomorrow night. We'll let you know what they decide. As more places lift mask guidelines, the CDC is using a new metric system to determine when they're needed indoors. It will depend on COVID case counts, hospitalizations, and hospital capacity. The previous guidelines recommended masking for roughly 95% of the country. With the new policy, it's now closer to 30%. Guilford County has hit a significant milestone in COVID numbers. This graph shows the percentage of tests coming back positive. The latest number is 5.9%. But I want you to focus on Saturday's number. That's 4.3%, which is below the red line, which is the county's goal of 5%. Now, this is significant because it's the first time the county's number has dropped below that line since before early December, nearly 3 months ago. In fact, most of our numbers over the past week have been hovering around 5%.
Research shows Black women in the U.S. are 3 to 4 times more likely to experience a pregnancy-related death than white women. The disparity may seem jarring, but Dr. Pam Oliver with Navant Health made it her mission to find ways to bridge the gap. I spoke with her about the importance of Black History Month and how it inspires her in her work daily. Dr. Pam Oliver wears many hats. She's an OBGYN, an executive vice president of Navant Health, and president of the Navant Health Physician Network.
So I have the pleasure of leading our entire physician network. So our ambulatory practices, our clinics, the places that you go to receive care outside of our hospitals.
Beyond leading the strategy and operations of Navant's clinics, Oliver dedicated her career to taking care of women. Her newest endeavor, advocating for Black maternal health.
Seeing the disparities and outcomes between Black women and white women or across any and every racial category has been disheartening given the amount of work that I feel we put in, I personally put in to take care of women.
Reports show Black women in the U.S. are 3 to 4 times more likely to die during pregnancy or soon after, compared to white women. Dr. Oliver says access to quality care and insurance are just some of the contributing factors.
They have to be listened to. We hear over and over again, Black women, even if they are in prenatal care, saying, I don't think my voice was heard. I don't think my issues were responded to.
She spent the last few years working with members of Congress to find ways to improve prenatal care for women of color.
But we know that in North Carolina, it is providing support to our rural communities, even where we see more of a need. And we're expanding access, whether it's through telehealth or teleconsults for high-risk pregnancies.
Dr. Oliver says her passion for helping others, along with understanding her Black history, inspires her each and every day.
Lets me know I'm not off the hook. There is absolutely no reason that I can't do more, that I can't achieve, that I am not expected to give back to our community and to drive impact, given what others have accomplished before me.
Dr. Oliver went on to say that Black maternal health is not a one person or one industry's issue. She says it takes all of us to educate ourselves and take care of each other. So the theme for Black History Month this year is Black health and wellness. And so when it comes to those disparities, it's not just with the Black maternal health. We're talking cancer, we're talking diabetes, we're talking heart disease, and all of that really comes down to equal access to quality care.
And you know, you mentioned, or she mentioned, insurance in that piece. insurance is the key, and having everybody to have access to that good insurance. It's so difficult. Healthcare is ridiculously expensive. We all know that, and access to good insurance is the key.
Yeah, I was also thinking though, her as an African-American doctor, she can bring those conversations into the right rooms to make sure those medical professionals understand the needs of African-American women. When you have representation, we talk about that often on the show, representation matters to bring forth the conversations in rooms where they may not currently exist because the diversity is not there. So that's what I thought was so important in listening to that, because if she may have not been in the spaces where she has been in, those people may not have, attended to Black health needs in the way that they do now.
Especially when she made the comment about a lot of Black women will say, I feel like my concerns weren't heard.
Right.
I feel like I was not being heard. And that's something I hear a lot of my relatives or even some of my friends say, that others might not realize that that actually is an issue that people are feeling in our community.
Yeah, certainly.
Access, so important. And I thought it was really important to bring up the story I did a few weeks ago about how now in North Carolina you have better access to birth control, and that also included prenatal vitamins. They're making sure that women everywhere, even if they don't have access to go to a doctor's office, they can at least go to a local pharmacy and get prenatal vitamins, which I thought was really important.
More details on our website.
Well, staying on top of women's health, October is often the month in which our attention turns to breast cancer awareness, but the push to screen, detect, and treat this life-threatening disease should be happening every day of the year. WFMY News 2's Tracy McCain shares one triad woman's sudden journey from breast cancer supporter to 4-year survivor.
Most women know Allison Gore as the Bra Lady. She's fitted bras for hundreds of women at the Greensboro Dillards and takes extreme pride helping breast cancer survivors feel confident after a mastectomy.
Just to help these women feel so much better about themselves and look in the mirror and say, oh my God, this feels fantastic.
A friend to survivors for years, in the summer of 2018, her world turned upside down.
I was diagnosed with cancer almost 4 years ago, and I felt some lumps, but I kind of shrugged it away, but they got a little bit bigger. And what I had 3 tumors that were slow growing.
Doctors told her the lumps had to come out and agreed to a mastectomy.
I was really scared. It scared the heck out of me, honestly. I just had no idea this would happen to Allison. I mean, my mother had breast cancer, but that was post-menopause. And I was just really in shock.
The mastectomy was the first step, and then cancer treatment followed.
That last day of radiation, man, I banged the heck out of that bell.
The Bra Lady went back to work with a renewed purpose of helping women feel their best.
I just feel like I need to help other women too.
Now able to share her own experience with survivors and the comfort knowing they're not alone.
There is light at the end of the tunnel. Hold on to your faith and believe.
Allison said she shrugged off the early signs of breast cancer and simply just wished it away. We know that is not how you beat breast cancer, so do something about it today. If you have been putting off a mammogram, you can check that off your list this Friday, March 4th. Cone Health will have its mobile mammogram unit outside the Dillards at the Four Seasons Town Center from 1 to 4. You can also get a bra fitting from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Dillards Fit for the Cure event. All this information is posted on our website. That's WFMYnews2.com.
Today is Rare Disease Day, February 28th. It's set aside to raise awareness. There are 7,000 known rare diseases. Most don't have a cure. 30 million people in the U.S. live with a rare disease. And one of those 30 million is a member of our News 2 family.
I'm on a mission to save lives. I don't want anyone suffering like I have. I've turned into a patient advocate.
Yes, she has. Our coworker Carrie is turning pain into purpose, and she has been searching for a diagnosis, guys, for 19 years.
Wow.
That is so long. I spoke with her today a little bit about that, and I said, that's as long as I've been at Channel 2. And she said, yep, it started when I came in. That was 2003. She was starting that journey.
That many years with no answers, having no idea, just not even a name saying this is what's wrong,
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, I mean, the constant doctor visits, the trying of medications that just don't work, it is completely exhausting. And to think, You know, Carrie's just one of millions of people that are on this journey. I want you to check out this technology that may help some rare diseases. It's the FDNA's Face to Gene app. It combines artificial intelligence and unique technology to detect rare diseases.
It allows clinicians to think and consider diagnoses that we would not naturally consider. For example, because a condition is so rare that even a clinical geneticist like me has never seen a patient with it.
So this only works for genetic diseases that maybe you can tell some of the things in the face that would make it different and make it something that you would say, oh, that is a symptom or a symbol of this kind of rare disease. Chances are, you know, your doctor, your child's doctor has never seen a patient with a rare disease. And that's kind of mind-blowing to know that.
I didn't realize how many there were.
Right,
you know?
7,000.
Yeah, when they say rare, I thought it would be way smaller than that.
Yeah, I felt the same way, Eric.
But you got to think that there's only 300 million people in the entire world that have a rare disease, and think of all the people in the world, right? So that brings me back around to Carrie's story. Her rare disease is found most in children and in postmenopausal women. It affects the reproductive organs and it can lead to cancer. Her story, her encouragement for anyone dealing with a chronic illness, it is tonight at 5 o'clock. And leading up to Carrie's story, several of you have shared your Rare Disease Day stories with us. And so Robin shared this beautiful photo with us. She says, I stand with you, Carrie, and so many others suffering with chronic pain. And she's wearing the stripes today. Another viewer texted us saying, thank you, Carrie. I am going through similar circumstances. You're my new hero. I will start fighting again. I had given up until I saw you this morning. My sunshine, thank you for the bravery and tenacity.
That's so beautiful. Just shows the importance of sharing your story and how you can really impact a lot of people who are going through the same thing.
Right, and sharing your story is not easy because it's very personal, and there are, you know, things that you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want anybody to know that this is what's happening with me. And yet if you don't share that story, then someone else who's dealing with a lot of the same things may not get help.
It's bravery.
It is bravery,
It really
absolutely.
is. And I was reading, I mean, the people that have, out of these 7,000 different rare diseases out there, 90%, I think it's more than 90%, don't have a cure, which is just scary to think. So if you've noticed, we're wearing these ribbons. It's for our girl Carrie and for all the people out there that are dealing with these kind of diseases.
Yeah, we hope you'll tune in at 5 o'clock for Carrie's story. Monique?
Yes, Carrie is sending sunshine across our newsroom, and guess what? The sun is also sending sunshine across much of the nation as temperatures are very warm. All of us feeling like spring except for our family and friends up in New York. They're sitting at a 36, quite chilly there, but our high for today at 50, around upper 50s for our area. And as we continue through this upcoming week, we're going to be seeing temperatures even warmer than this though. Our highs for today across the board, everyone feeling the warmth, even our friends in Boone, who are always significantly cooler than we are, but not today. Everyone feeling the heat. 57 is the current temperature. This is in fact kind of the warmest part of the day. We're going to go downhill from this, but not too cold. We're not going to drop below freezing tonight, as was the case yesterday. But take a look at this upward temperature trend. On Friday, though, this is the coldest day of the week, and I will take a 56 because 57 is what we're at right now. So just a degree warmer, I'll take it. So it's going to be warm for most of this upcoming week, and you can see this 7-day. Now this day, I'm being modest because it is several days away, but it is in fact possible we can get warmer than this as we get near time to that Sunday date. Now it does accompany some clouds for your Saturday, your Sunday, and Monday, but it's still very warm. So this overall forecast is trending to feel like spring to start out the month of March. So February ending warm, March starting warm and dry. Only one rain chance on the entire 7-day.
All right, and the actor goes to Coda.
Yeah, this is trending all across social media right now. The Apple Plus TV drama Coda with that big win. The film won Best Ensemble at the 28th Screen Actors Guild Awards. The show, by the way, features a trio of deaf actors. That would be Marlee Matlin, Troy Kotsur, and Daniel Durant, all working to keep the family business afloat. Matlin says the win is a history-making moment for Hollywood's deaf community. She ended her speech, you see here, by teaching the crowd sign language for I love you.
Oh, I
Very
love
nice.
that. That
That's
is so
great.
incredible. It's crazy to think that there's never been a movie to win with deaf people. So
I know.
I'm glad that they are breaking barriers.
Yeah, I definitely want to check this out because as we were talking about in our morning meeting, apparently one of our producers had seen the movie and he said it almost brought him to tears. It was so powerful.
I want to see, so Marlee Matlin's been around a while, but the other two actors I wasn't familiar with. I remember her in the 80s, I believe, 80s or 90s in certain series. And she did, even back then, she brought awareness to deaf actors and actresses. And I mean, that's a big step.
Yeah, it really is. It was cool to see finally another award show back to normal. They had, you know, everyone was there. It was like the pandemic wasn't affecting it anymore, which is cool to see.
Don't you feel, like I feel right now almost the relief with our numbers being down, and
it's like the light really is at the end of the tunnel. We've been saying it for 2 years
Can we go
now.
knock on wood somewhere?
we need to. No more variants. Yeah. Although I feel like, and believe me, no doctor here, but I feel like that everything from these award shows to our numbers locally and all that, I feel like it is just kind of settling down. And if you look at you can look at data from other pandemics in history, and it just gradually, you know, makes its way.
Just think about like this summer.
Oh, I know.
Like we could just be living life.
I want
like
live,
what is that?
I want live music back.
I was about to be a Debbie Downer, but let's not speak too soon.
Don't do it. I know. No, you're right.
You know, we all want those things, but we got to keep doing our part.
I do remember a doctor saying that with more variants, they think it would be gradually lesser and lesser until. So we'll see. Fingers crossed for that. We'll take a break.
It's National Tooth Fairy Day. How much do you think a tooth is going for these days? Well, according to a poll from Delta Dental, the average cash gift for a tooth is $5.36. So I asked you on my Facebook page how much you got as a kid from the Tooth Fairy herself. Kitty says we got a nickel in the 50s. Melinda got a quarter. She said that was in the late 60s. Mary got 50 cents. For Ken, it was 10 cents. Curtis says $10 maybe. Donna writes 10 cents. LOL, I'm dating myself. I'm 71. 10 cents in my childhood would actually buy something. Alice says she got 50 cents. And meteorologist Christian Morgan says, as many times as I knocked my teeth out as a kid, I should be rich. Inflation must have hit the Tooth Fairy early on, though. And I can confirm, yeah, Christian's had multiple teeth knocked out, but the Tooth Fairy coming through. $5, y'all.
That's a huge, so I usually got $1, but one year I got 50 cents, and my mom said it was because I didn't sleep in my bed the whole night. And she said the Tooth Fairy doesn't give a full $1 to kids that don't sleep in their bed the whole night. So after that, I started sleeping in my bed by myself the whole night.
I think mine was $1, if I remember correctly. Funny story I was telling you guys during one of the breaks. Tyler, who's almost 12, he's kind of his last couple molars are leaving. And at dinner on Sunday, he went, Dad, and he reached and he pulled out his tooth. And I said, oh my gosh.
I'm not ready for that.
I used to take two Q-tips and go like this and try to like get them out when they were bothering me. And then one time my grandmother, she held my tooth and she had me like move backwards. I mean, but that was when it was almost supposed to fall out. Yeah,
my dad had to always pull my teeth for me. I was too chicken.
And everybody's afraid. All right,
we'll be right
back. Stay there.
Like the wire just starts sticking out and cutting you up. 1, 2, 3, and then you got to put wax on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. Hello, is that me? Check, check, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Hi, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas.
Hey, mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Check, check, check.
President Biden has flat out said that the U.S. does not need to worry about new.
Follow me around. I'll get in place eventually. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Hey, it's time for My 2 Cents, and today I'm talking about social media. Now, we talk about that a lot, right? Especially in My 2 Cents. We've talked about the effects of social media, good, bad, the ugly. in this case, it's kind of, it was a little surprising and somewhat shocking to me. I never thought about this, but the role that social media is playing with this conflict with Russia and Ukraine. TikTok in particular has a slew of videos making their way around right now. I mean, take a look at some of these we found. The Washington Post posted a lot of these in an article recently, and you are literally seeing what looks to be like Russian tanks going down the road, Russian troops moving into position, and these videos are all over the place. Now, the first thing that I said was, well, do we know for a fact that this is true? And yes, of course, there are some fake things out there as well. CNN posted this one. What someone claimed was a bunch of Russian warplanes flying in formation heading to Ukraine, when in fact this, they found out after doing a reverse image search, was actually a group of Russian fighter jets in formation for a holiday that someone took, and they repurposed that picture for bad purposes. So the bottom line with all this that I say to you is, think about this, take things with a grain of salt before you believe everything that you see on social media, and do a little bit of research so we're getting the facts straight. That's just my 2 cents, and that's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
Today I'm able to sit here, which I think is a complete miracle, and not just be in constant pain.